What is up YouTube, and welcome to this Westworld video. So if you're new to the channel, please do consider leaving a subscribe down below and also dropping a like at the end of the video on your way out if you did enjoy it. Of course, it is super appreciated. But Westworld, boy, was that was a revelation at the end, albeit if you've been watching my videos before this, well, you would know that I've pretty much predicted that this kind of thing would definitely happen here on Westworld with Robert Ford returning. So that's quite a big thing here. I think this is the bulk of this video is going to be talking just about that and what's going on with Bernard. So Bernard goes to the cradle, which is pretty much, of course, you guessed it, the cradle of civilization for, well, if you're a robot with milk blood. I guess they don't really have that anymore. That's a terrible joke. I guess it's an alien reference. I'm going to give up. But this is where we find out just what is actually going on in the Westworld park, or at least all of the parks, that is. So we see the twosome go in there with Bernard, and he steps into the really scary sort of looking database grabber, for lack of a better term, where he steps into the machine and all of his mind is completely read by, well, the machine, and it's used there to pretty much try and, as a simulation of Westworld, and everyone who steps in it, they try and work out what's going on with their DNA, if they're suitable, if they match the rest of the park and things like that, to make sure that nothing goes wrong. That's a bit awkward, really, isn't it? The whole reason why they're there is because everything has gone to pot. But we have this Westworld sort of simulation here, and we see some really big things here. So we see the interview that we see with Dolores and Bernard, but it's flipped on its head, and now Westworld is just too damn clever for its own good. So as I said in the pretty much the first episode, we cannot trust everything we see. This is not linear, as we saw with Bernard. Everything is not linear because he has memories missing and things like that. So what we see here is, well, pretty much when they're talking, they are in this simulation of Westworld, it seems, or they are simply talking as normal, and Dolores is the one testing Bernard to see if he is compatible or suitable. So if you remember previous episodes, we did have the Man in Black, William, testing Delos, and, well, he failed at every single turn. However, let's not forget that every single thing in Westworld is recorded, and every single moment is recorded. Who else could actually get a hold of this? And that is Robert Ford. As we see at the end, he's there in that simulation. He's in this mind, and he is in everywhere. He is everywhere inside Westworld. So I'm not seeing, well, I don't think he's going to definitely let Bernard out of there scot-free, but it turns out that Bernard has been controlled this whole time, and he's been controlled by Robert Ford, the weird AI thinker version of Ford, who has uploaded his consciousness into the park. And this thing, this little brain thing that was taken, the brain that was made, or was sort of being made a couple of episodes ago, was taken by Bernard and was put into the cradle, and it was put in there. And we know that Ford is now uploaded. Now, I am thinking kind of along the lines here that he's not trying to make a clone of himself. I did expect him possibly to try and make a clone of himself, but here it looks like his whole aim is to just be everywhere at once. Now, if you had the scenes with William and we did see him there in that Mexican town that we had before, with his friend, and everyone was being a bit weird and they weren't being their usual coding and things like that. Well, Robert Ford was controlling them. He's been controlling all of these, and part of me is a bit wondering that maybe he's taking full control of Dolores and he's controlling her. But what aim does Robert Ford actually want from all this? What does he want? And is this the weapon that everyone wanted? So I'm not really sure what his aim is for all of this, but it is incredibly creepy nonetheless. Now, it does seem like Bernard is being groomed to be the host for Robert Ford's brain. And now, it's a bit weird. He's slowly turning into him. And, well, why would Robert Ford have himself killed just to have himself uploaded into the database when he could control everything. However, we do know that the company was slowly slipping out from under his grasp. All of his life's work is being taken away from him very slowly. As we saw the whole thing with the industrial espionage, with Delos, with the Man in Black, it's all being taken away from him and kind of being twisted and taken away further from what he intended to create. So him being uploaded into the database, well, that's a way of him to actually control his company and control everything. Now, I will say some criticism of the show so far. I do feel like we are spreading ourselves just a bit too thin with the stories. Of course, we have the Samurai Shogun world, which was, while it was stunning and looked beautiful, didn't really add much to the story. We've also got as well a few others. We've got Bernard, we've got the storyline of the new security landing, parachuting into the park to take control of it. But it seems like they're all converging on one now as we're quite far into this season. So the train is going straight towards the Hive, and that is, or I think they're going towards the Hive or they're leaving. I couldn't quite make out just exactly what that meant from there. But we see the explosion as well. But the explosion is actually where Bernard is at the cradle. So I think perhaps the weapon is more than likely actually to be that brain, or the weapon could be Bernard, but more than likely it is the data in the cradle. So as he said, or at least Bernard said, it's just data. Well, it's not just data, of course, is it? It's everything that has on file for everyone in the entire park. Blackmail and things like that is what I'm predicting. However, that is it for this video. Please drop a like, please subscribe, and I'll see you soon. Goodbye.